This is news analysis coming to you on the Politics and Business Television Abuja. Here are the headlines. Lent Ramadan begins today as faithful enter season of fasting and prayer. Traders killed in anti-Northerners protests in Rivers. 6 travelers adopted on Benue Road. And from the international, thanks for being there. And now the news in detail. Presidents of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Said Abubakar, confirmed that the crescent signaling the start of Ramadan 2026 has been sighted. According to the statement by Sambo Junaidu, chairman of the Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs on the Sultanate Council, yesterday, the leader of Muslims in Nigeria said verified reports of moon sighting were received from various parts of the country and were carefully authenticated. Represented by Sheikh Abubakar Ibn Garbai El Kamini, the Sheikh of Brno, the Sultan said Muslims across the country would begin the Ramadan fast today. Similarly, the Lenten season for Christians begins today as Catholics faithful observe Ash Wednesday. The Hausa community in Rivers State has alleged 4 of its members were killed during last weekend's protest at the oil mill markets in the Rumukurushi area of Portharcourt. A chairman of the Hausa community in the state, Musa Saidu, made a claim on Tuesday when he led other northern leaders to assess the situation at the market. He also said several shops belonging to northern traders were looted and vandalized during the unrest. Saidu urged northern residents and traders to remain calm despite rising tensions, stressing that they are law-abiding. Thanks for being there. And now the news in detail. Presidents of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Said Abubakar III, the crescent signaling the start of Ramadan 2026 has been cited. According to the statement by Sambo Junaidu, chairman of the Religious Affairs on the Sultanate Council, yesterday, the leader of Muslims in Nigeria said verified reports of moon sighting were received from various parts of the country and were carefully authenticated. Represented by Sheikh Abubakar Ibn Garbai El Kamini, the Sheikh of Brno, the Sultan said Muslims across the country would begin the Ramadan fast today. Similarly, the Lenten season for Christians begins today as Catholics faithful observe Ash Wednesday. The Hausa community in Rivers State has alleged 4 of its members were killed during last weekend's protest and further when a wheelbarrow pusher identified the oil mill markets in the Rumukurushi area of Portharcourt. A chairman of the Hausa community in the state, Musa Saidu, made a claim on Tuesday when he led other northern leaders to assess the situation at the market. He also said several shops belonging to northern traders were looted and vandalized during the unrest. Saidu urged northern residents and traders to remain calm despite residents regardless of ethnic background. The crisis followed the killing of an indigene, Ichilem Samuel Festus in Ikuruta, the Kwere local government area. Festus was allegedly stabbed by a northern commercial motorcyclist during a dispute over a motorcycle he was accused of stealing. The February 10 incident sparked protest, with demonstrators accusing northern motorcycle operators of involvement in criminal activities. Tensions escalated further when a wheelbarrow pusher identified as Zakara Ifiru allegedly stabbed a trader from Benue State, Inguso Wenem, to death during a disagreement at the oil mill market. Tigrin renewed attacks on northern traders. Police rule and said he is in custody for investigation, while the police public relations officer in the state, CSP Grace Iringe Koko, stated that she was not aware of any confirmed death of 4 northern traders, as claimed by community leaders. At least 6 people were abducted in the early hours of Tuesday by suspected bandits along the Naka-Makudi Road in Benue State. The incident reportedly took place in Kula Village, a community near the state capital Makudi. A relative of one of the victims has told the National Daily that the travelers had departed Ilorin on Monday but spent the night in Ankpa, Kogi State, due to insecurity along the roads. A source added that the bandits were demanding a ransom of 100 million naira for their release. Confirming the adoption, the chairman of Gwe local government area in a convoy. When contacted, the police public relations officer of the state command, DSP Udume Edet, said she had not received an official report. Kidnapping has become rampant across Benue State amid rising insecurity. Just last week, 9 worshippers were abducted at St. John's Catholic Church in Ujiji, Utonkon local government area, while 14 travelers were taken in Opoku local government area. The Naka-Makodi road, previously avoided by motorists due to frequent attacks, had seen relative calm following deployment of security agents last year until Tuesday's incident. Meanwhile, some prominent Nigerians have reportedly condemned the presence of United States soldiers in Nigeria, calling it a violation of the country's sovereignty and a dangerous precedent for foreign interference. The development follows the recent arrival of U.S. military aircraft in Nigeria just days after American and Nigerian officials announced that about 200 U.S. soldiers would be deployed in adversary and training roles. According to U.S. authorities, more aircraft are expected titled "No to Foreign Forces in Our Land, Defend Our Sovereignty." The group expressed serious constitutional and sovereignty concerns over the deployment. The statement was signed by notable figures including Femi Falana's son, Professor Jibril Ibrahim, Dr. Abubakar Sadiq Muhammad, Dr. Dauda Garba, Professor Welcome back to the news. And now the rest of the stories. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has announced plans to carry out maintenance on key equipment at its Zungeru transmission substation in Niger State on February 18 and 19, 2026. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the General Manager of Public Affairs in the Dumba said the exercise would take place from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on both days and would cover the 150 MVA 330 and 332 and 33 kV transformers and 5.5 MVA transformers and associated suite able to serve their customers during the maintenance period. The TCN spokesperson, however, noted that some areas would experience temporary disruption during the process. Kantangura, Tigina, Yauri, and environs will, however, experience a brief power interruption during the load transfer. Mumbai explained that the planned exercise is part of efforts to maintain efficiency at the facility, stating that the scheduled maintenance is to ensure that equipment continues to perform optimally. The company urged members of the public to take note of the scheduled exercise. And now to the business world. The Naira has appreciated to nearly 2 years' highs against the United States dollar at both the official and parallel foreign exchange markets on Tuesday. The Central Bank of Nigeria's data showed that the Naira further strengthened on Tuesday to 1,335 Naira 96 kobo per dollar, up from 1,347 Naira 78 kobo on Monday, the highest rate since October 2024. This means that Naira gained 11 Naira 82 kobo per dollar on a day-to-day basis at official foreign exchange market. Similarly, the Naira surged significantly by 10 Naira at the black market to close at 1,490 on Tuesday, up from 1,400 on Monday. The development comes as the country's foreign investment recorded sustained rise to $48.37 billion as of February 16, 2026, according to the Apex Bank data. And to the foreign scene, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said that talks between Ukraine and Russia have brought about meaningful progress as both sides prepare for a second day of negotiations in Geneva on Wednesday. Despite this, hopes for a breakthrough remain low, with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky criticizing U.S. President Donald Trump for repeatedly asking Ukraine to compromise, warning that peace would not be achieved if victory is handed to Russia. President Trump has recently suggested that it is up to Ukraine to ensure the success of the Switzerland talks without directly addressing Russia's stance. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has maintained its maximalist demands for Ukrainian territory, insisting on control over additional areas in the eastern Donbas region. Ukraine continues to reject such demands, arguing that the proposed compromises are heavily disproportionate compared to Russia's concession. Currently, Russia occupies roughly 20% of Ukraine, including significant portions of Donbas. Ukrainian officials have emphasized that any settlement with Russia must be preceded by robust security guarantees from the West, particularly from the United States, to ensure the country's sovereignty and prevent further territorial losses. And now for sport news, let's join Bill Sunday.
Hello and welcome to P&B Sport News. I'm Abel Sunday. The Nigerian Football Federation officially debunked the viral
compared to Russia's concession. Currently, Russia occupies roughly 20% of Ukraine, including significant portions of Donbas. Ukrainian officials have emphasized that any settlement with Russia must be preceded by robust security guarantees from the West, particularly from the United States, to ensure the country's sovereignty and prevent further territorial losses. And now for sport news, let's join Abel Sunday.
In Istanbul, Galatasaray delivered a statement performance, thrashing Juventus 5-2 in a breaking encounter. The Turkish giants were ruthless in attack, clinical in front of goal, and simply too explosive for the Italian side to handle. Juventus struggled defensively all night, punished by pace, precision, and relentless pressure from Galatasaray. Meanwhile, in Lisbon, it was a night of restlessness for Real Madrid, who edged Benfica 1-0 away from home. A disciplined and composed Madrid side soaked up pressure before striking decisively. That crucial away victory gives Los Blancos a massive advantage ahead into the second leg. That's your P&B Sport News. I'm Abel Sunday.
All right, you're welcome back. And of course, it's now time for the focus of the day. Involving northern commercial operators. Authorities have arrested a suspected attacker, while police say there is no confirmation of the reported death of 4 northern traders. Community leaders are calling for calm and urgent peaceful coexistence, highlighting the urgent need for ethnic tolerance in Nigeria's market and public places. So this afternoon, we will be looking at, of course, the topic, ethnic clashes and market violence by Yakubu Aliyu. He is the coordinator, Rebuild Arewa Initiative for Development. And of course, he's joining us virtually. A warm welcome to the program this afternoon.
Good afternoon, viewers.
All right, nice, having you on the program. And very quickly, sir, what is your take on the recent disturbances in Portharcourt, particularly in the market we just mentioned? What's your take about that? some northerners being attacked, shop looted, and so on.
Yeah, it's actually very unfortunate that things like this take place in a very peaceful state like Portharcourt. Like I always said, apart from being the coordinator of the field area
Residents in a dispute involving northern commercial operators. Authorities have arrested a suspected attacker, while police say there is no confirmation of the reported death.
Governing the whole 17 southern states. I'm also the board of trustee chairman of Ario community in Rivers State, also South in general. So it's a very place that I am very familiar with, and I know the terrain and also the place where all the incident took place. I knew. In fact, as I'm talking to you, there is high power delegation from the Arewa Consultative Forum visiting the scene. Currently, they are in a community called Guja, taking inventory of damages caused by this mayhem. What really happened in Portharcourt and Iguita, it is unfortunate. The one in Iguita, it was caused by a suspected thieves who stole the motorcycle belonging to the northerners, and they have been chased, but unfortunately a life is lost. And then that of OLE is a kind of power tussle between our brothers who are all from the north, one from one from Taraba State, one from Benue State. So it is a truck brought a vegetable, our economic food from the north as usual. The laborers were like bragging, I'm the one to upload, and the other person is saying, no, I am the one. And because of that, an argument ensued, and then violence, erupted, which resulted in the killing of our 3 persons and also vandalizing the economy, crops.
Okay. Now going forward, how can ethnic tolerance be promoted to prevent clashes such as this? Well, we won't really call it clashes. It's a kind of protest that led to the vandalization of properties that belong to some northern trade.
Can deploy
Is there with
issue of religious and that of ethnic sentiment in Nigeria.
So what role do you think community leaders can play? Because you just mentioned political leaders. How about the community leaders? Because they are the ones in the grassroots.
Well, the community leaders on our own, we are doing our best to make sure that we brought unity amongst ourselves. And you can see because of
very quickly, can you tell us is the northern community or the Hausa community, as it were, calling for maybe compensation or government coming to their aid, because properties have been destroyed, and this is livelihood of those victims. So is there any call for government of River States or whichever government, whichever level, to come to their aid at this point in time?
Well, like I spoke with the Sergeant House of Adam yesterday. He confirmed to me that they have taken inventory of the damages caused by this so-called protest, which is unnecessary. And then after taking that, we'll seek for a compensation. It's either 3 legal or 2 legal means, or whatever means that is legitimate. We'll make sure that the compensation is being given to those that lost their properties. We will do that.
Okay, all right. We must, appreciate you this afternoon for joining us, Alhaji Yakubu Aliyu. Thank you very much for joining us on. All right, thank you very much, Alhaji Yakubu Aliyu Nuhu. Of course, is the coordinator, Rebuild Arewa Initiative for Development, simply known as RAID. And that wraps up today's program. But before we go, the headlines once more. Lent. Ramadan begins today as faithful enter season of fasting and prayer. 4 traders killed in anti-Northerners